everybody. I want to jump into today's book talks because I have something special for you today. Rather than just one book, we're going to talk about three. And there is a reason for that. They are part of a series, and the middle book is my favorite book of the whole series, and probably my favorite book of all time. And there's a reason for that. Have you ever read a book that spoke so completely to where you were in your life at the time that you came away with a deeper understanding of where you were, what you needed to do, what you were going through, anything like that? And it was something that stayed with you and that you could revisit time after time after time because you had the book and you could keep going back to the story. I do have one of those, and like I said, it's the middle book in a series. So today we're going to actually look at a series of books by Kristen Heitzmann. It's the Rush of Wings series, and it starts with A Rush of Wings. Now, I will tell you, my copies of these books are from when they first came out, so the covers are different now than they were back then. Your cover may look a little different, but it's still going to be the same amazing story inside. And A Rush of Wings starts with Noelle St. Clair running in fear and finding a place of safety and sanctuary and hopefully healing at the ranch of Rick Spencer. And it's not just Rick and Noelle's story. Rick has a brother named Morgan that comes into the story, and he plays a very big part in Noelle's journey as well. It is listed as contemporary fiction. I would almost say it's maybe romantic suspense, edging that way a little bit. It's not fully what the story is about the suspense, but Noelle is running. She's in fear for her life. She's not entirely sure what she's running from or why. And there's just a lot of pieces to the puzzle that she has to put together. And so that does add some suspense to it. So that is the first book in the series. The second book is actually my favorite book. I was super excited when the story came out not because necessarily of the content and direction of the story, but because it was about Morgan Spencer. When I read A Rush of Wings, I absolutely fell in love with the character of Morgan Spencer, not because he's perfect, because he is far from it. But there was something fragile and beautiful in his brokenness that really made me want to know what the real story behind the guy was. And so we got to see that in The Still of Night. And in The Still of Night, like I said, it goes through Morgan's story. It touches on his past and how his past that's damaged him so completely intersects with his present and promises to go on into his future. And so when I read this, there's a lot of hurt, a lot of questioning, a lot of why am I going through this pain and things like that contained in this story. I read it at a time when I was going through a really hard time in my life, when I had those exact same questions of why is this happening? It was for completely different circumstances that I'm not going to go into right now, but I was hurting and confused and trying to find my way out of this painful place that I had found myself in. And this story dealt with all of that same stuff that I was dealing with. And so it really spoke to me where it was at. It encouraged me and it gave me new perspective. And one of my favorite quotes is from this book. And Morgan's daughter is writing a message to her father. And she says, "Things don't always work out the way we want. The trick is to want the way they work out." And that is a quote that impacted me so much when I was reading this and has continued to impact me. And when I'm going through things and I don't understand it, my prayer has become, God, help me want whatever you're going to bring out of this. Help me want whatever you're going to show me. Help me want this process until I'm through it. and come out better for it. And so I absolutely loved The Still of Night for that reason. I go back to it time and again. If you could see the cover really well, as good a care as I take of my books, I mean, the cover is worn. None of the pages are dog-eared because I do not do that. But it's one that I revisit time and again, and it's a really great story, and it gave me a lot of insight into that character of Morgan Spencer, and I fell in love with him just a little bit more. And that's good because the third book, The Breath of Dawn, continues Morgan's story. He's gone through the fire and he's coming out on the other side. I don't want to say he's completely come out, but he is coming out on the other side. And he is learning how to live life again, and his path intersects with Quinn Riley, who is facing some danger from her past that's coming back to haunt her as well. Part of Morgan's charm is that he's a problem solver. So when he runs into Quinn and into her problem, it doesn't scare him away. It doesn't make him turn the other direction. He does what he always does. He reaches out and tries to help her. And they grow closer as that takes place. But they decide their relationship, their friendship, is important enough to try and overcome the ghosts of her past. And so it's a really great book to wrap up the Spencer family story and Morgan's story. And I'm really glad the last two books in the series dealt with Morgan and his life. But like I said, this series is one of my favorite series to read, and that Still of Night from the second book is my absolute favorite book of all time, and it is one of those that spoke to me. These are really well-written stories that make you want to dive in and be best friends with the people in the pages. And so, you know, pick them up, try them for yourself. See if you don't fall in love with Morgan Spencer too. I'd love to hear what you think of him when you get done. So I really hope you get the Rush of Wings series by Kristen Heitzmann. Again, the first book is A Rush of Wings, then The Still of Night, and The Breath of Dawn. I hope you enjoy them, and I'll see you next time. Bye.